Hey guys, what's up? This video is being recorded about, actually I don't even remember what day it was, a couple days after the other video was edited. As you can see, I don't have facial hair anymore. I basically want to come on and say that the opening video does not have any audio to it. I had some issues uploading that required me to delete or remove any audio from the video. Hopefully that'll be fixed in the future, and hopefully future videos will have an audio music or something with the opening video going from getting out of the water from the open water part to getting onto the podium. But for this video, it will not have that. So please bear with me as I get that figured out. But hope you guys enjoy the video. Also, I'm using a different video editing software, so cuts might not be as clean or as good as normal. I was having problems getting it exactly where I wanted it to, so just please bear with that. But hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll see you later. Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name's Andrew. I am a PTA student, that is physical therapist assistant, as well as a personal trainer and a triathlete. So basically I've made a couple of these videos and I just haven't posted them because I took too long to edit them. So basically I had this whole plan out of getting to age group nationals and hoping to run the Olympic distance and everything. But because of some injuries that have been, not injuries, but nagging pains and other issues that have come up, I'm no longer planning on doing that. I'm just going to go for the sprint distance instead. I've run into a few issues, but basically in this video, I want to talk to you guys about the planning out process for my training and stuff like that. So later in this video, I'm going to talk about a template training plan that I'm putting together right now, but it'll be on my computer screen, so I'll talk you guys through that. But for right now, there's actually going to be a period of time where I'm not really going to be increasing my training load. So right now, I plan on going about 10 to 12 weeks without increasing my training load. So, and then you'll see that in a minute. And in that 10 to 12 weeks, I plan on doing some reading. So, the first thing I'm going to do is read this book called Advanced Concepts of Strength and Conditioning. I am a certified strength coach. However, I don't understand it necessarily enough, 100% enough to apply the information. I passed the exam. I got a 78 or an 80 on the exam, but I don't understand it enough to apply the techniques. For example, in PTA program, we didn't really necessarily talk about sling systems, but one of the big things is understanding the sling systems. For PTA, we learn more about rehabilitation, and when we talk about that, it's not necessarily sports rehabilitation. It's this person just had a hip replacement. This person has a herniated disc. This person has had a stroke, CVA, tendonitis, stuff like that. Not necessarily talking about fixing biomechanics and talking about the different sling systems, which is how the body moves and the systems of muscles that basically help you do that movement in a coordinated movement. So, for example, there's anterior sling system, there's longitudinal oblique, there's all these different sling systems. Now, after I read that, that'll help with, one, fixing my biomechanics, and two, making sure my movements are nice and efficient. Because of the concept of, somebody related it to a car. So, does it make more sense to add more horsepower to a car with a bent axle? So to make a car faster, first off, does it make more sense to make a car faster? If a car has a bent axle, does it make more sense to add more horsepower to that bent axle and then have the car continuing to run with the bent axle just with more horsepower? Or does it make more sense to fix the bent axle, therefore fix the biomechanics of the car, and then add more horsepower to it? So fixing the problem that's causing the slowdown and then adding to the horsepower. So in that context, with this book, it would be this book here. It would be fixing the biomechanics of my body before adding strength and power to it. And then also after that, which I'm hoping I'll be able to read that in about 10 to 12 in the next 10 to 12 weeks. Because in that 10 to 12 weeks, I kind of skipped a step here. In that 10 to 12 weeks, I'll be doing a strength training program of physical therapy. So I tore my Achilles back in February. So almost a year ago, I tore my Achilles partially. But I tried to self-treat. It didn't really work. Went to physical therapy and stuff like that. And now I'm just back to running. So I'm not just back to running, actually, but I'm up to running about 6 miles. Scratch that. I'm up to running about 4 miles twice a week. And I'm at the point where I'm still doing my physical therapy, because I found when I went a couple weeks without it, my Achilles would act up during the run, and I would start feeling pain at around 3 to 4 miles. So I decided to back off that, maintain that distance of 4 miles, but start reintroducing physical therapy. So for the first 6 weeks, I'm going to do physical therapy. I'll explain this in a second. I'll do the same physical therapy movements, and then for the last 6 weeks, I will also be doing the same physical therapy movements, but I'll be adding an additional movement to that. And for the first 10 weeks, I will be keeping my mileage about the same. And then for the 10 to 12 weeks, I'll be keeping my mileage about the same, depending on how my body reacts. And hopefully by that point, I'll be ready to read this, which is the Triathlete's Training Bible. The Triathlete's Training Bible. And hopefully that will help me with programming for sports performance, for the sport specifics of triathlon, with the swim, bike, run, things that the other book won't necessarily help me with. Things like tempo training, swimming technique. I already know enough about running technique. I don't necessarily know enough about biking technique, and I definitely don't know enough about swimming technique, which I'm actually thinking about doing, is getting my triathlon level 1 coaching certification, but there's a first $100 class I have to take prior to doing that. So the plan is to read the strength and conditioning book, read the triathlon book, to then apply those concepts to my training after I fix my biomechanics. And then if I have time before school starts up again and before age group nationals, I'm then going to also read the 3rd edition of Jack Daniel's running formula, or known as the Daniel's running formula. So those are what's going on. Now, I was talking to you guys about how I'm resetting. So I had this whole thing planned out, and I wasn't following it strictly enough. I was listening to my body more, and I could push it, and now I'm feeling really fatigued. So first problem was that, my heart rate monitor wasn't working properly. So I have to reset that and all that, everything like that. But I was trying to increase my biking mileage way too soon to try to push it. So I'm actually at the point right now where I'm having a small low back problem because my hip flexors are super tight. So what happens is this finger right here is the front of my pelvis. My thumb is the back of my pelvis. So what happens is the hip flexors are the muscles that flex the hip. So quadriceps, such as like the rectus femoris, iliopsoas. So what happens is, if those muscles are tight, this happens. When that happens, let me see if I can do this right on camera. So if that happens, then your lumbar spine is attached to the pelvis. So lumbar spine normally is from here, and it goes up like that with some curve to it. Now, if your hip flexors are tight, that happens. So the reaction for that is that the lumbar spine goes from basically straight up with a slight curve to with a big curve. And then what happens is when there's a problem here, it adds tension here to the lower lumbar spine. So I was having low back pain, and I was trying to fix that. Problem is I'm just super tight, and there were some issues I was having. And so I was trying to increase my mileage too fast without letting my body recover, without stretching, and I was having all these issues. And now it's at the point where I'm feeling the burn, I'm feeling a struggle to bike more than 15 miles. So, and the plan was for 20 miles. So I know this video is all over the place, but I'm trying to do it the best I can. So basically, I was having some overtraining issues, some reactive injury problems, stuff like that. So basically, I decided, today's actually Tuesday the 12th. I decided January 12th. So I decided to completely take off this week, work on mobility and stretching, which are the same thing basically. Mobility and stretching, take off this week, plan everything out, catch up on some reading and stuff, and start up again next week from the basics. So, and I'll talk about that in a minute, all that stuff. So that is the plan right now. I'm a little bit, like I said, I'm taking some time off, icing, stretching, stuff like that to fix what I had problems with. My hips are also out of alignment slightly, so what I do is I have to, my hip flexors are super tight, and I got that confirmed by a physical therapist. It was funny actually. I went to a chiropractor, and I saw a physical therapist there, and I told him what my theory was on what was going on, and he was like, "Yep, you're spot on." So that was the nice part about it. So if you stick around for the next part of the video, I'll talk to you guys about my running plan and stuff like that. Okay guys, so here, as you can see, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And also I apologize for the static. I can't find a way to get around that. So as you guys can see, here is a layout of my Age Group Nationals 2021 training weeks, or training schedule, broken down into the weeks as 29 weeks total. So as I already talked about, because of my injury and everything, I have to take things slower, and I haven't been taking things slow enough, so I'm restarting my training, basically taking a couple days to work on between now and the 18th. As you guys can see, today's the 12th. Between now and the 18th, I'm going to work on just recovering, flexibility, stuff like that. My body doesn't necessarily respond the way it used to, between everything going on, between everything with aging and all that stuff, it doesn't respond how it did in high school, or how it did my freshman or sophomore year in college. So here is a breakdown of the weeks. Week 1 versus week 10. I am uncertain yet if I'm going to do my 5K time trial in week 10 or week 12. It all depends on how my body responds to the training that I will be doing. If my heart rate's responded good and it's really low at week 10, then I'll start increasing things at week 10, and also do my 5K time trial then. If it's week 12, if it's week 10 and things aren't going as good as I want them to, then I'll wait till week 12. Now, the problem here is that, I mean, not a problem, but everything has to be there's no perfect plan. So basically, I could get to week 12 and still not be feeling still not feeling 100% confident, and therefore I might have to increase the time I'm doing this simple mileage, and I'll explain that in a second. So, so as you can see, August 2nd through the 8th, that's Age Group Nationals week. So when it comes to that time, I'm planning right now on doing the sprint, because Olympic I'm just not going to be ready for, with how my body's been reacting to the training I've been doing. And another week off is just, I'm not going to be ready, I don't think, for the Olympics. So I'm going to do the sprint. Now, that could require just doing a taper this week, or also doing a taper this week, because this week is going to require at least probably 3 days of probably Thursday, Friday, race on Saturday for traveling. So here comes a breakdown more so. So here is week 1. Now, once I go back to the gym and pools open up again, rowing will be swapped with swimming. But this is how every week's going to look basically. The strength training sessions I normally have on a separate Google Doc, but for explanation purposes, I put them all on one doc here. So this is exactly what I'm going to be doing the first strength training session, which I will have another video up basically showing you and explaining to you all the movements, what all the movements are, and why I'm doing them. Even if I don't know the reason why, I know why my physical therapist had given them to me. Not saying that you should do those for that reasons, but this is just what I do, and using my personal training background and what I've learned as a PTA student, I'm throwing this together. Some of this is my doing, some of it is my physical therapist doing. But I'll have a video out and with a voiceover explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, anyway, so week 1 through week 10 or 12, everything will be the same. The only change that will happen is Monday, or the strength training sessions scheduled for Monday and Thursday will swap back and forth between Monday and Thursday and Tuesday and Friday. So I usually have 2 days off in between, but I don't want to have strength training all on the same day, or all on the same days, and I want to give my body a little rest. For example, when it gets up to 20 miles or 25 miles biking, I don't want to have to do strength training also, when this takes me an hour and a half versus this takes me 45 minutes. Also, something I want to point out is this mileage is going to change hopefully. So over the next 10 to 12 weeks, this will stay the same. This mileage will stay the same of 15, 4 miles, 15, 4 miles, 15. After a certain period of time, hopefully at around week 10 or 12, I'll start increasing things. So the row will go from 10,000 to 11,000 meters. The following week, that'll stay 11,000, and then one of these bikes will turn to 20 miles. The following week, the same thing will happen, and another one of the bikes will turn to 20 miles. And the following week, another one will move to 20 miles. Then the following week after that, that'll stay the same, but I'll move a run from 4 to 5, and then following that, another run from 4 to 5 miles. And then as that time goes on, around week 12, this will change to other exercises at week 6. I do all this exercises until week 6. Week 6, I will then add one more exercise between eccentric calf raises and superset 4 times of TRX row and push-ups. That'll be a static lunge, which I will put an explanation for in the YouTube video when I eventually do it, when I eventually move on to that exercise. But basically, you have your foot still, instead of moving your foot from feet side to side, or right next to each other, to stepping forward, going down to lunge, stepping back up, feet next to each other, you put your foot down where you're going to lunge, and you just stay in that position, and you're basically doing like a one-legged squat, but with your back leg in the back for like the lunge purpose of it. And basically, I'll put that in at week 6, and then from week 6 to 12, I'll do this with the one added exercise. And so that's the only difference that'll happen between those weeks. And then I will start moving this as more of a warm-up for the intense strength training, or for the more sport-specific movements. So this will be week 1. I'll put week 2 here, that movements, and then so on and so forth. I don't plan on doing any long workouts until at least week 10 or 12, where I'll start taking Sunday from being off, and every other Sunday I'll start off with a long row, and then the following week will be off, and then the week after that will be a long bike ride, and then the week after that will be off, and then the following week will be a long run. But hopefully I'll be ready for that. So that is my breakdown right now of how I do everything. And because I put the strength training and this on 2 separate documents, gives me optimal amount of room to mess with or describe how I felt, what's going on, and what the workout is, especially when it gets down to like the 4 miles. If I do a mile warm up, mile cool down, and then I do 200 meter repeats or something like that, or 200 meter tempo repeats or something along those lines. It gives me a lot more room to do that. So this is, again, the layout. I've already changed this 2 to 3 times because I haven't followed my plan, but hopefully that will stay the same this time. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next part. Okay guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed that part of the video. I know it was kind of long. I'll try to put a thing in it for skipping ahead to back to the video portion and not the part that I recorded on my computer screen. So one of the things that I decided that I wasn't going to do was I had this plan to do Ironman VR racing, which is basically last weekend was a 40K bike, so about 24.9 miles on the bike, which I'm just not in shape for. And the other thing was this coming weekend was gonna be a 10K run, which again I'm just not in shape for. So I've decided that instead of giving myself the option to, I'm just gonna decide not to do any of those VR racing because I'm just gonna disappoint myself. I can't complete the mileage. I did 2 miles of the 40K race and decided that I was too sore, out of shape. I was overtraining just to do it. So I decided to put those off for a while. I did come back from a pretty serious injury, a partially torn Achilles. They said if I would have run for another 2 weeks, I probably would have completely torn it, which would have required surgery probably. So I just have to be careful. If you want to though, I'm kind of bad about posting videos in a timely manner. So I posted my weekly my daily workouts on Instagram. If you follow me at Keen_the_machine, I post all my workouts daily. I also post my weigh-ins on Sunday because I am a little heavier than I want to be. I want to get down to 185, 190. And I'm currently at about 218 after the holidays. I also post like I said, I post my weekly weigh-ins on Sunday whenever I weigh in. And I have this Omron scale that detects all this other stuff other than just weight. So feel free to follow me there. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment. If you want to see something differently, comment too. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.